Yo, what is up, guys? This is B Bricks and Brickdo here, and today I thought I'd do a video on the Winter Village sets. Now, these come out once every year, and I was thinking about. I feel like I always see things about these being going up in value, them costing a lot nowadays, and these are sets that I remember kind of growing up that they always came out. I never really had any of them, but I always thought they were cool, and I was really curious to see how much they had appreciated in value, if these are consistently good investments, and how much it would be, how much return have they had over the years. So I went ahead and made a spreadsheet, took every single Winter Village set that we've had up until 2017, because those are the ones that are all retired, and I went ahead and found out the market value right now on eBay, how much they're selling for, figured out the total return. But then another thing I think we need to start looking at is annualized returns. You can look at the overall return, but the reality is, if you're putting money in 2009, we need to start looking at annualized returns, because the reality is, you can invest in a lot of different things, and the purpose, of Legos, hopefully, it does better than maybe more traditional investments, or it does equally as well. And so I thought that'd be a really good figure to look at today. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and get right into it here. So yeah, as you can tell, the Winter Toy Shop from 2009, I mean, goes for almost 3 times the price it did when it came out. But when you look at the annualized return, and this is without, shipping and fees, it's not that great at 9.3%. You think about traditional like stock market index funds and things like that, go up on average around 8% a year or so. So I think this is at sort of even with that, but nothing too crazy. And then I guess 2010, 2011 is where we start, and basically these three right here is sort of, I would say, almost the golden era of these sets. They go for almost $400 now, and yeah, it's just crazy looking at that. It's hard to believe, but yeah, if you look like the Winter Village Bakery, about a 20% annualized return, the post office another 20%, and the cottage 18.9%. It's kind of funny. The Winter Village cottage for me is very iconic. I don't know why I never really had it, but when I think of the Winter Village theme, that's the one I think of. So obviously, it does go for one of the most expensive sets now, about $400, but really cool. And I also really like the older box art style for these sets from 2009 to 2012. Just think it's really cool. It sort of has those the sort of light blue stud background almost. Really like that. And then 2013 and on is when we sort of hit that creator expert era, and this one was sort of a miss, right? It's about twice as much as what it went for, but since 2013, it's about a 10% annualized return without selling or shipping and selling fees. So pretty average, nothing too great. And then Santa's Workshop, another really good one, around 20%. Winter Toy Shop around 20%. Holiday Train 16% or so, but I like the trains. I think a lot of people have talked about this in other channels and stuff. I always think the trains are pretty good buy and holds. They always seem to do pretty well. Big fan base for trains. And the Winter Village Station, actually, this is the most recently retired one, is doing very well. Actually, one of the best for the annualized returns, but could be because it's around Christmas time, maybe popping back up a little bit in price, or because it's recently retired. So guys, I thought a good discussion revolving around this is knowing when to sell if you're holding on to a set. So it's sort of intuitive that the longer you hold on to it, the more it's going to go up in value. But I've noticed specifically with Lego, I think a fair amount of sets sort of hit this sort of like vague ceiling on secondary market prices. And at that point, you're going to start to see much slower returns every single year. The market value is not going to increase like crazy, like it maybe had been for years in the past. That's why it's good to sort of have an out game. At what percentage return are you comfortable selling your sets? I usually say maybe around like 200%. You're going to be looking pretty good there. And usually you can get to a 200% return fairly quickly as far as years go. So I think it's good to have a target return price. Otherwise, you might be holding on to a set for, say, 11 years, and yeah, it went up in value a lot. but you've had that set for 11 years. You've had that capital tied up in that set, and as a result, the annualized returns is not as much. And I think a good example of this as well, at least more sets that I've been very adamant in following on eBay for years now, is a lot of the older UCS sets. If we think about the original UCS Star Destroyer or the original UCS Death Star 2, just a lot of those sets sort of hit that about like $1,000 or so sort of barrier. The Death Star 2 has definitely surpassed that in a recent year, I would say. It's definitely moved past that, but there does seem to be that sort of comfortable price range, and as soon as it sort of reaches that peak a little bit, it becomes really hard to push through that. Very few sets do, and it seems like it usually only does many years down the line. So those sets have been around $1,000 for years now, almost as long as I can remember. They've been pushing that price, and just very recently, for a set that's been out for something like 16 years, the Death Star 2, it finally sort of pushed through that. But that's a really hard guessing game to have. So like I said, guys, you should probably have a game plan going in if you're holding on to sets. Figure out what return percentage you're comfortable of, go ahead and saying, I'm going to make a little bit of money, call it a day. This is a really good example. This most recent one, 2017. So it's about a 200% return, but you've only held on to it for just a little bit of time. This is if you bought it, in 2017 for retail price. Now, this is not even including any sales. And you're going to do really well. An annualized return of almost 30% is fantastic. And really good key takeaway there is having a target price where you're going to be selling your sets. Second major point I would like to talk about is the Winter Village theme by itself. Across the board, there's not been one set here that's flopped. These sets have almost all basically doubled in price at least. So I think this is a great line to get into, especially if you can find them on sale. Definitely really hard to find on sale, we'll say, or if there's a good promotion going on. I think these are decent sets to look at, possibly go in. You might have to have a little bit more of a long-term view of holding them for a few years, but like I said, it's not going to be a quick flip, but I think these are really good. If you hold on to them for a few years, you're going to get a really nice return, and I definitely take a look at it, this year, any of the retiring ones, the 2018 one, see if you can maybe find it for on sale or a really good Lego promo if there's going to be one, potentially, November timeframe or Christmas timeframe. That's it, guys. I thought I'd just show you some of this work I've been doing on the Winter Village sets, some of the key takeaways from some of this data, and yeah, hopefully you guys learned something. This is Bbricks and Brick Duo signing off. Thanks, guys.